Dr. Kishore Sansi. In fact, I am tempted to call him Comrade Kishore Sansi. Dr. Harish Hande, Sri Y. Nageshwar Rao, Sri B.S. Ram Rao, Sanjeev Varsne, Comrade Prakash, my very good friend, senior comrades, past general secretaries and presidents, senior executives of the bank, and sisters and brothers of the Vijaya Bank family. I am extremely happy and thrilled to be amidst you all this wonderful evening. In fact, I am floored, totally floored by the congregation. Comrades from all over have come here in multitudes, like small tributaries, and joined this wonderful occasion. And the banner is such a beautiful banner, wonderfully designed. The flowers are so beautiful, so fresh. But the most beautiful part of today is you, comrades. It's you. Because it is not money, it is not power, nor we leaders, but it is you who truly drive this organization. It is you who have built Vijaya Bank, who have brought it to this level. And beyond all this, today I'm extremely happy that we have a wonderful management. In fact, as I was just feeling that if Mr. Kishore Sansi, Dr. Kishore Sansi had not been the MD of the bank, he would have been the General Secretary of the All India Bank Officers Confederation. Because so friendly, I mean, so very, truly comrades, the associations, the federations, they are partners in progress with the bank. And I appeal to all of you that you should work sincerely, work hard to make Vijaya Bank one of the topmost banks in the country. Comrades, in fact, Vijaya Bank was born on such an occasion. If you go back down the history lane, 1931, I think on the Vijayadashami day, 23rd October 1931 to be precise, Vijaya Bank was established. Vijaya Bank was born. That is why it is called Vijaya Bank, Vijayadashami day. Vijayadashami dina huttidalla, adike Vijaya Bank anta karita idare. Probably Dr. Harish and a few farmers, 10 to 15 farmers led by Mr. A.B. Shetty, A. Balakrishna Shetty, he founded the Vijaya Bank. Because, I mean, it was a depression, the Great Depression of between 1927 and 1933, which extended up to 33. I mean, there was a lot of, the interest rates were high, farmers were short of funds. So in order to make available funds at cheaper interest rates and to bring them out of the clutches of money lenders, a few farmers along with A.B. Shetty, Attavar Balakrishna Shetty formed Vijaya Bank. And today 85 years have passed by. Little did they imagine that the small-time efforts of those people would snowball into an avalanche of fame and fortune to become the Vijaya Bank, one of the most preferred banks in the country. Comrades, the Vijaya Bank, All India Vijaya Bank Officers Association was born on the Independence Day of 1980, 15th August 1980. And their history has been intertwined with the history of the trade union movement itself. In the 1960s, our workmen started taking promotions. They became officers. But then they were sandwiched between workmen and the managements. They were not recognized as management by the management. They were not recognized as workmen by the workmen. So they were sandwiched in between. So in the year 1965, 64, 65, 66, many of the officers got together and they formed organizations. There was a probationary officers guild, there was an accountant guild, sub-accountants guild, so many head cashiers association and things like that. They were all loosely knit organizations. Some organizations like State Bank of India formed the All India State Bank Officers Federation. Many other public sector banks also came up with their associations and federations. Slowly, 1969, the bank nationalized, first round of bank nationalization took place, and then the AIBOC was born, All India Confederation of Bank Officers Organizations, led by Comrade L.V. Subramaniam. And then emergency, 75 to 77, there was the emergency. Pillai Committee recommendations came into existence. At that point of time, the bank officer's salary and the government employee officer's salary were at par. So Pillai Committee was introduced to bring them at par with the government. So, but then there was a lot of discontentment. There was a strike call in the year 1977 against the Pillai Committee recommendations. Despite that, the Pillai Committee recommendations were implemented. Slowly, the AIBOC started getting disintegrated. And then the All India Bank Officers Confederation was born on 6th of October 1985 at New Delhi. In between 1980, the All India Vijaya Bank Officers Organizations took birth. After nationalization, of second round of nationalization, the All India Vijaya Bank Officers Organization also took birth. When AIBOC was born, they became affiliates of the All India Bank Officers Confederation also. The All India Bank Officers Confederation has played a major role in the bipartite settlements, in establishing various trade union principles, establishing various forums, and in improvement of the service conditions of our officers. You all know that in the year 1991, the LPG liberalization, privatization, and globalization was introduced. AIBOC was a progressive trade union. They opposed LPG not for the sake of opposing LPG, but because they had a lot of suggestions, but the manner in which it was done was not liked by AIBOC. Today, standing at this point, looking back, our stand is vindicated. The 2008 subprime lending crisis, it was a financial tsunami. The 2011 crisis in Greece and its spillover even till date, I mean, we feel that our stand is vindicated. The stand taken by AIBOC was right. The public sector banks have played a major role post-independence in the Green Revolution, the White Revolution, in the shift between class banking to mass banking, in reaching out to the rural poor, in trying to, reach out to the villagers, pulling the villagers out of money lenders, in establishing small and helping out small and village industries, cottage industries, developing infrastructure, and the financial inclusion till to this date, software, financing everything, virtually everything. The history of the Indian banking industry, public sector banks, has been the history of the progress of the country. But then, the public sector banks have played a major role in the socio-economic development of the country. It is not just the economic development, but the socio-economic development. They have been growth engines, right, but then they have taken care of the society. Today, sometimes, I feel a tinge of pain within me when people talk about privatization, when they want to privatize these beautiful temples of our country. You all know that since 1991, various attempts have been made to tarnish the image of public sector banks. But today, sometimes, even more attempts are being made, citing that public sector banks have nothing but NPS. NPS were created. Many NPS were dumped on public sector now. What was the need to go for Basel III norms? Many of the Western countries are not even Basel II compliant, but then we are all striving to achieve Basel III norms. In the process, paint the public sector banks as centers of NPA. There is a dichotomy. Infrastructure lending after the independence and during the process of growth, who did the infrastructure lending? They were the public sector banks. Private sector banks did not venture into infrastructure lending. But today, when everything is rosy and everything is fine, these private sector banks come and take over advances. They have not seen the other side of infrastructure lending. The gestation period in infrastructure, the returns are very slow, but then the employment that it has generated, the opportunity cost, the amount of employment, employment in the rural for the laborers, it has created. Nobody has seen that. But then simply dubbing public sector banks as NPA-oriented banks and things like that. There is a continuous attempt to paint the public sector banks red. So this attempt is continuing, comrades. And the All India Bank Officers Confederation played a major role in trying to protect the public sector image of the banks. Recently, you all know that Gyan Sangam 1 and 2 were held. Gyan Sangam 1 during the 1st and 2nd of January 2015, and the Gyan Sangam 2 on 2nd and 3rd of March, 2nd and 3rd and 4th of March 2016. The essence of Gyan Sangam is outsourcing of core jobs, increase in contract labor, introduction of the concept of cost to company and performance-linked variable pay, abolition of all the bipartite forums, and reduction of staff. This was what is aimed, and mergers, of course, mergers. And the Gyan Sangam was motivated by the PJ Naik committee recommendations. You all know that in the year 2015, yeah, January, the PJ Naik committee was constituted. Within 2 months, PJ Naik submitted his report. Such a major report, within 2 months he submitted the report. It was a directed report. And the essence of the PJ Naik committee recommendations is that to dilute the public sector character of the banks, to bring it below, bring the equity below 50%.